when the warm summer air is punctuated by frantic calls for help.
This is the real deal, guys.
The Coast Guard is ready to respond.
I want to get out there. I want to get out there fast.
At Air Station Clearwater, the crew races to reach a man with acid burns to his eyes. In Marathon, the team scours the choppy waters to help a young boy search for his father.
If he's on the bottom and out of air, then he doesn't have much of a chance of survival at this point.
Is that someone in the water right there? Yeah.
And in Miami, a gruesome discovery sends the boat crew on a sobering recovery mission.
It was a terrible sight to see.
The Florida Peninsula, a hotbed for Mother Nature's fury. Here, every day, the brave men and women of the Coast Guard's busiest boat and air stations vigilantly patrol nearly 2 million square miles of turbulent waters, protecting the public from the dangerous elements and preventing foreign threats and illegal drugs from reaching our shores. America's southern waters are protected by Coast Guard Florida.
Air Station Clearwater Operations, Lieutenant J.G. Lee. I am Lieutenant J.G. Chanel Lee. I'm a 60 pilot here at Air Station Clearwater. I just got a phone call from District 7. The Tampa Police Department found a car on the Gandy Bridge that was still running. A 67-year-old female who is the owner of the car. They haven't been able to find her. They actually believe that the woman is in the water. So I activated the SAR alarm here on base.
My name is Lieutenant Brian Hoyt, Aircraft Commander at Air Station Clearwater.
We don't have the exact coordinates, but once we get in the aircraft, we'll get that from the ODO, head up there and see what we find.
Nice to get hold of air, see where we're going. Ready for takeoff? Ready for takeoff. I'm looking for a vehicle that's unmanned down here, and then I imagine they think there's somebody that took off the bridge. We're looking for a jumper, guys. Roger. Estimated jump time was 2:30 in the morning.
I'm AMT-3 Dave McPeters. I'm a flight mechanic at Air Station Clearwater. You know, it was kind of unclear what was going on. We didn't have a whole lot of information to go on.
This is the Gandy. Yes. The Gandy, huh? Yeah, man, I don't see a car. I don't see police, I don't see anything.
But, you know, person in the water, we're going.
You guys all right if I change out back here, or are we even gonna put me down if we find this person? Yeah, if we find him, we'll put you down for sure, man. All right, I'm gonna change out then.
There wasn't any information as to exact location or what exactly we were looking for. There was a lot of confusion, so I just started getting ready to go.
Are we looking at the Gandy or the Howard Franklin?
2-5 sector, roger. The Gandy Bridge, over.
Oh, we don't see a car. There's nothing out here. Roger, we're over the Gandy right now, throwing in that search pattern, and I don't see any abandoned vehicle or police or anything. Doesn't make any sense. I'll get up a sector and get a little. Yeah, that would work. Info.
When we were en route, we started talking with Sector St. Pete to get a search pattern, a position to start our search in.
Sector St. Pete, Sector St. Pete. Coast Guard 6025, channel 22. Search as follows. Sensor is a 27, tag 54, decimal 973 north.
The sector gave us a drift and said she would be drifting towards the Courtney Campbell.
And they actually directed us north towards the Courtney Campbell Causeway.
Let me know we don't see an unmanned car on this bridge either. What is going on here? There's a vehicle. About 2 o'clock now.
As we were flying north, I noticed a car on the Howard Franklin Bridge. So we decided to circle back and just take a quick look at the area.
There's a person right there. Look at that right there. In the water? Yeah, right there in the water. See that? Where do you see him? Right there, 3 o'clock. She's like laying on her back. There you go, right there, 1 o'clock. Yeah, in sight. Coming on. She's still moving. Dude, she's like barely holding on to that. I'm on wall. Yeah, he's gonna have to pull her out. Learn to make you do quite a swim here, Spence, because we're getting too close and I think we're beating her up with the waves.
It didn't look too good when we first got on scene. She was floating on her back up against that concrete break wall, getting pushed by the swell. We wanted to stay back as far as we could so the rotor wash didn't push her in there and cause any further injury.
She's moving her hand. She's moving, but she's, yeah, she doesn't look too good. Yeah, I mean, she's just like barely. She's moving. She's in trouble. She got nowhere to go. She can't grab a hold of it. Yeah, she's getting smashed in. Yeah, we gotta get this quick, man. Come on, man. This is crazy.
Once we spotted her, it was pretty obvious that I was going down. This woman appeared to be unconscious, or for all I knew, she appeared to be dead.
All right, this is a real deal, guys. Swimmer's ready. Go check, please. Going down. Swimmer's halfway down. Swimmer's in the water. Swimmer's away. Okay, clear back. Cease commands. Roger, hoist complete.
Put Spencer into the water, and from there he swam over to her and began doing his assessment.
I think the general state of the patient was not the best. The patient was hypothermic, which you wouldn't suspect in Florida, but she was apparently in the water since 2:30 a.m. the previous morning. Your core temperature averages 98.6, but when you're in 60 to 70 degree water for that long, even though it's not freezing cold water, it's going to wear down your system, and that's why she was in the state that she was in.
Just the thought, if her head was getting smashed into that wall, and he's got the ability to stand, do we want to give him a litter? Hands are pretty full. It's not a bad idea. Yeah, he's getting his radio out. Litter for sure. Roger.
I chose the litter because I suspected a possible spinal injury, a back injury, and the litter is the device we use for people with injuries of that sort.
Litter's going up and out the door. Litter's below the aircraft. Easy forward. Hold. Litter's in the water. Swimmer is at the litter. Swimmer's disconnecting the litter from the hoist hook.
He had her all strapped down and was ready to go. He gives us the thumbs up, ready for pickup.
Right 5. Easy right. Hold. Prepare to take the load. Take my load. Roger. Litter's halfway up. Litter's below the aircraft. Litter's coming inside the cabin. Hoist complete.
Brought her inside the cabin, got her situated, and at that point we were prepared to recover the swimmer.
Swimmer's outside cabin door. Swimmer's coming inside the cabin. And we are cleared direct to Tampa General.
Next step was to get her to the hospital, which fortunately was only about a 5-minute flight.
Those coming right. This will give us a lot more room. Let's go for the right between these two paths here. Calm in. Roger. Easy forward.
And then once we got to the hospital, we lifted the litter straight onto the gurney with the patient in it.
Hey, superb job up front, guys. That was awesome. Appreciate it, man. You did awesome, too. Man, if we didn't swing around to look at that car that you mentioned, I would not have seen her. That was a lucky find, man. Yeah, nice spot, man. Lucky, man. Just lucky.
It feels good to me that the patient's okay and that she's alive. It makes it worth it.
All right, so 53-year-old male, hydrochloric acid in the eyes. I want to get out there. I want to get out there fast.
We're trying to save his eyes, and I hope that he's going to be able to use them.
Server's going down. Duck is ready.
Today, we're going to go out and get hoisted, working with the ASTs to be a survivor for them.
I think you might be sick by the time this is over. Coast Guard cutter or something?
Yeah, I'm good. Standing by line 1, Grady.
We're here at Station Miami Beach. We have 2 cadets from the Coast Guard Academy, Cadet Tim Early and Cadet Darian Duryea. Within 24 hours of getting off the plane, they literally had their first drug bust. I mean, what a great and awesome experience for these 2 young men.
That's awesome.
One of the cadets had expressed some interest in the aviation side of the house, so we thought it would be great for that young man to head over to the air station and do some training with those folks.
All right, man. Get her done. Okay. Jump in.
We're gonna run the cadet through sweat training. Basically, he's gonna be flying as a passenger on the 65, so we're just getting him familiar with some of the things that we do here to prep people to go out on different missions.
Go ahead and hop in and we'll hold it.
My name is Darian Duryea. I'm a 4th class cadet at the United States Coast Guard Academy. Aviation has always been my dream to fly, and gonna do everything I can to get there.
This is simulating the door right here and the handle of the helo.
What you're gonna do is just simulate opening that up or down, and then just pop it out.
The reason for the switch here is to get them comfortable with the steps of what to do if you crash in a helicopter, because first thing it's gonna do is flip upside down. So you're strapped in, we flip you upside down, and you exit. And we just wanna see that you know the steps without panicking.
Reference point, got it?
Yeah.
Okay, your exit. Got it?
Got it.
Disconnect ICS. Whenever you're ready.
At first I was a little, iffy about like what was gonna happen, but it's a fun ride.
Cool.
That was great. Yeah, it was. Took your time, man. Didn't panic. It's perfect. Look comfortable. That's what we want to see.
Well, after completing this, I'm really pumped up to go on an actual duck flight, see if I can get hoisted offshore.
Good job, dude. Thanks. Fast.
All right, 53-year-old male, hydrochloric acid spilled in his face. It's from a tug and barge. It's 170 nautical miles southwest of here. My name's Lieutenant Commander Bill Friday. I'm an H-60 aircraft commander. I'm hoping that we'll be able to send you down. He'll still be able to put him in the basket, tell him to hang on, and go for a wild ride. All right. We got the call launching us on a 53-year-old male who had hydrochloric acid that was spilled in his eyes. He was roughly about 190 nautical miles away. They needed urgent Medevac to the closest hospital.
Let's go to Tampa for the patient, or Lee Memorial Hospital.
Flight controls are checked.
Roger, Griffin takeoff 36 left with northbound for rescue 6024.
Rescue 6024, Southwest bound approved.
Clear to go 100% torque.
I'll go to 1,000.
Roger. All right, so a 53-year-old male on an empty tug and tow barge, hydrochloric acid in the eyes. Well, this guy's got a lot of urgent pain, burning sensation. You know what? I want to get out there. I want to get out there fast.
Pain on a scale of 1 to 10 was an 8, so we knew it was urgent to get him to a hospital as quickly as he can to get the right medical treatment. Hopefully he'll save his eyes, and I hope that he's going to be able to use them.
Flight controls still normal. Flight instruments checked.
My name is Robert Nelson, first-class aviation survival technician. Been a swimmer for about 17 years now.
Sector Safety 024. The question I have is if it's okay to irrigate the patient burns with sodium chloride.
The patient had acid in his eyes. I decided to take some sterile water to rinse his face off with.
024, this sector CT. The flight surgeon indicated that if it's the .09 saline solution, it's okay.
Sector 024, that's good copy and all. I appreciate all your assistance.
And we are probably within 6 minutes to be on scene. And we're just basically going to choose the hoisting area once you get on scene.
Every vessel that you hoist from, you always can encounter difficulties. The worst unknown is not actually knowing what the vessel looks like.
Resolve from the 2-4. We're going to be hoisting from the tug or the barge?
Yeah, probably the barge is going to be better. The port outside the barge, there's nothing there as far as high structures to bother you.
Roger, good copy.
Before we got on scene, I did a hoist briefing with the captain, and he goes, "Oh, we normally hoist off the barge."
Roger, have the vessel in sight, 2 o'clock. I don't know, that back deck with the, that looks pretty easy right there, man. Yeah. I feel like the back deck of the tug looks like the best option.
So then when we got on scene, we noticed that the best hoisting platform really wasn't on the barge, it was actually on the tug that was pushing the barge.
Resolve, like to know, is it possible we could switch to the stern?
We'll switch to the stern.
I think this will be perfect right here.
I mean, it's huge back there. Yeah.
We could probably wait till he gets on the deck so they're watching us. That way those guys on deck can see.
All right, this evolution is going to be a harness deployment of the rescue swimmer to the deck of the tug Resolve. It'll be from this altitude of 80 feet.
Crew ready for approach.
Ready for approach.
Roger.
Bring the swimmer to the door. Roger. You can begin the hoist. Roger, have target sight 2 o'clock. Swimmer's going in. Roger.
This is a high hoist, so it gives me a little more time for something to go wrong.
Crew ready for approach.
Got the call launching us on a 53-year-old male who had hydrochloric acid that was spilled in his eyes.
Service going down. Roger.
We knew it was urgent to get him to a hospital as quickly as you can.
Delivery's halfway down. Forward and right 30.
Once I'm dangling, it's all business. I'm checking the deck out, planning out my landing. I'm looking for anything that's going to slow me down or cause me problems.
Forward right 5. Please forward right.
But the vessel was a nice wide open spot on the back of it. Very clean deck to lower to.
Swimmer's on deck. And swimmer's disconnected. Swimmer's okay.
Once I got down to the boat, I assessed my patient. There's apparently a paramedic that's on board who was able to take care of him in a very professional manner. His bandages were very clean and well wrapped. Ready to be hoisted, I informed him how the hoist was going to be and what it's going to be like to be inside the basket.
I think he's briefing him on like, hey, keep your butt planted, I'll help you get in it. Yeah.
Since he had bandages over both of his eyes, I tried to reassure him that things are going to be fine. It's going to be a little bit bumpy.
3-4 summer, roger, basket's good. We're just about ready.
Yes, sir. Okay. And basket's out the door, basket's going down. Full right 5, full right hold. Basket's on deck, position is perfect, and survivor's on his way to the basket. Oh, geez, that's got to be frightening to not be able to see. Still trying to sit him in the basket?
I couldn't imagine what it's going to be like to go up with your eyes closed.
Roger, easy forward right. And I got it ready for pickup. Prepare to take a load. Taking a load. Fastest clear to deck, clear back to left 30. Good.
It had to be a scary ride. There's a lot of bouncing and jostling, jerking in the beginning of the hoist. About halfway up, he's going to be swinging a little bit.
Fastest halfway up, clear back to left 20.
Thankfully, he didn't spin in the basket, but just the swinging alone is going to throw his equilibrium off.
Clear back left 10, fastest just below the cabin door. Roger, cease command. Roger. Fastest outside the cabin door. Bring him back in the cabin. Fastest in the cabin. Hoist complete. Now I'm going to close the door just for a second. Roger. He is blindfolded, so... Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like flying a helicopter with your eyes blindfolded. He seems to be in pretty good condition, other than the burn, obviously.
He tried stepping out and the basket slid.
Yep.
That's the smart thing about closing that door.
All right, I got to seat it and seatbelt. I'm going to put the basket away.
The hoist, the whole evolution was great. Hoisting went very smoothly.
Swimmer's coming up. Clear back to left 20. Swimmer's halfway up. Swimmer's the outside cabin door. Bring a swimmer in the cabin. Hoist complete. Roger.
The most important thing right now, we'll make sure that we should be on deck at 8 o'clock. That way they can be ready for us.
Writing down his vitals and making sure he's okay, but he seems to be pretty comfortable.
Everything went great. I want to say it was relatively easy, but yet, you know, it could have turned differently.
And ready for flight. Transition forward flight. Roger.
Thank you very much. Take care of my buddy there. Great job. We're glad you're here.
Thank you very much, and have a safe voyage.
Thank you once again. You guys are better.
You're welcome. Have a good evening. 11 minutes right there. I don't think there was anything that could have done any quicker.
Roger. He seems to be pretty comfortable, pretty calm.
Seemed to handle it pretty well. He was chatty in the helicopter. I was able to talk to him, get plenty of information. He was cleaning up on the ship, and the polish he was using must have got on his hands, and he was wiping his brow, and it got into his eyes while he was sweating. It wasn't splashed on his face like they had told me. He was pretty prepared for a lot worse injuries.
Tampa General Hospital, Coast Guard, Rescue 6024. All right, we got a visual on the pad there. You're down, sir.
Roger, coming out. Clear out.
Roger, stand by. I'm going to help him out, sir. Roger.
We flew him into the helo pad in Tampa General Hospital. I assisted him over to the wheelchair, and we wheeled him inside to the hospital.
All right, looks like Rob's making his way out. He's cleared in? He's cleared in. Roger. We're ready for takeoff, after. Roger.
Tampa General, thanks very much. Taking off and departing.
Copy that, Coast Guard 6024. Thank you. Have a good night.
That's a good last duty right there.
Yes, it is.
This is my last duty day in Clearwater. I've been here for 4 years. You know, it's just always nice being able to do what we were trained to do, and that's to go out there and save lives. Here we assisted a life to ease his pain, and it's just as rewarding.
Good, you as life assisted. Everything worked out well?
I was in Kodiak prior to coming to Clearwater, and everyone says Kodiak is very challenging, and it is. You know, operationally, distance-wise, but I've had my most challenging flights while stationed here. Challenged myself, challenged the crew and the co-pilot, knowing that if my skills weren't as honed as they were, you know, it could have been different.
All right, one more case, come on.
Yeah.
Is that someone in the water right there?
There is a person floating in the water face down.
All right, there's the heel.
660 said Paloma. I cannot hear you. We have now all swimmers in the water. If you need anything, we need to either communicate by signs. Over.
My name is Darian Duryea. I'm a 4th class cadet at the United States Coast Guard Academy. I'm here in Miami, and yesterday I passed my SWET training for the ASTs, and today we're going to go out and get hoisted, working with the ASTs side by side and get to be a survivor for them.
Ready for pick of the rescue set. Partners 2. Smoke. That's a swimmer in sight. Roger.
I don't think he expected it to be that extreme underneath that helicopter. It's a lot different than what it looks like. You know, you can't really see anything. Your mask is getting hit with water. Your face is getting hit with pellets. It feels like little BBs hitting you.
Link delivery to the rescue swimmer survivor simulator. Right up. Easy forward and right.
When the hook came down, he was my survivor. I had already had his harness hooked up my harness, which is called a MADPU, a military augmented double pickup.
And swimmers and survivor at the sling, the hold position.
I hooked up to the rescue hook, and I told him to give the pickup signal, which is just a thumbs up in the air.
And ready for pickup signal. Prepare to take the load. Ready. And taking the load.
So away we went.
Swimmer and survivor are clear of the water, clear to move easy left.
Josh and I, we went up together as a 2-person hoist, and just kind of being hoisted for the first time ever into a helicopter was definitely an amazing feeling. There's nothing like it, just can't even describe it.
Moving them in, right here. And they're in the cabin, hoist complete, right here.
So I got in the helicopter, the AMT was there to help me get settled, and they sent me pretty much basically right back down by myself.
Rescue checklist part 2 complete, ready app to harness to deploy the duck. And duck is ready. Ready, duck. Duck is moving out. And duck is going down. Right up. Duck is below the aircraft. Man, he is spinning good. All right, his life, huh? I think you might be sick by the time this is over. Thanks.
When you're getting lowered out the helicopter, you tend to spin every time just from the rotor wash coming down, and he didn't know how to kind of react it with the spins, which as a swimmer you learn to do really fast, and so I think he got a little bit of a ride going down.
Duck is disconnected from the hoist hook. Duck is okay.
It's pretty interesting. It gives you quite an adrenaline rush to be there, just you and the AST, just sitting there in the ocean with the heel overhead. It's definitely an experience that I'm never going to forget. Definitely have a lot more respect for the ASTs and what they do, what their profession is, and you know, going out and save lives so others may live.
It was absolutely amazing.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's probably the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
Clear forward. All right. Forward. Clear.
128 station 90. Over.
918.
We're at the mouth of the Miami River, commencing our search at this time. I'm BM2 Grady O'Neill, Coast Guard Station Miami Beach. I was in the duty room when we received a phone call about a person found in the water over by the American Airlines Arena. So we mustered up a SAR crew and headed to that location. See anyone on the docks? I saw a white light coming from the seawall. The details of the story were limited. All we knew was that there was a person floating in the water, and that was it. We didn't know it was male, female, how old they were, how they died or ended up in the water. We headed towards the American Airlines Arena, and we noticed a lot of red and blue flashing lights, so City of Miami police were there. And then along the seawall, they had flashlights shining down into the water. It was covered in seagrass, so we couldn't really see exactly what they were shining at.
Right there. See the heels?
Get ready to pick them up, all right? Station my power, 3313, I'm 3121, over.
3311, sector, go ahead.
Local law enforcement has tasked us with retrieving the body.
My name is Josh Stetton. I'm an E3 at Coast Guard Station Miami Beach. A big part of this kind of mission when you're dealing with a deceased or injured victim is personal protective equipment. Putting on masks and gloves could save your life. Basically, you don't know if that person has had a disease, something that might transmit to you or your crew.
Just let me know when you guys are ready.
Right back here. The body was covered in, seagrass and debris, so we were trying to figure out the best way to, come alongside and recover the drowning victim. We got a pretty good plan together. One person would handle the body bag. Myself and Seaman Rivera would actually put hands on the drowning victim. Kind of looks like a kid. All right, so just get ready for that, okay? Okay. Just get ready for that. Might be a kid.
We're gonna get the hook out. There you go. You're trying to prepare yourself mentally for whatever you might encounter. You're not sure how long the body has been in the water, if it started the decomposing process. It's kind of a traumatic experience for some people, and it never gets easy.
What we'll do, basically grab the pants.
When we bring it on, yeah, just
throw it in the bag. Throw it in the bag.
With the body, we didn't know how long it was in the water for, so you always grab it by the article of clothing and not like the arm or the foot or the head or anything like that, because if it's waterlogged, if it's been exposed to the environment for a long time, the tissue becomes very soft.
Got the belt.
Yep.
Got the shoes.
At first we thought it was a child. That's obviously going to be worse, dealing with a child that has been deceased, but it was a grown man.
It was a terrible sight to see because of the fact that, it's a dead body. But I treated it as if I knew the person, how would they want to be treated? And obviously you want to treat them with respect and courtesy and get it done as quickly as possible.
Good job, boys. Good? Not too bad, right?
Once we secured the body, brought it back on the boat, we spoke with detectives and determined that the best plan of action was to take it back to base where they could meet up with us and continue their investigation on it.
Thank you.
You guys good for me to speed up?
As we arrived at the station, the investigators were basically waiting for us. We moored up, and Petty Officer O'Neill and Seaman Rivera carried the drowning victim up to where the investigators were.
Well, I guess we can get started. They actually did their examination on base, took the body off, examined it, made sure there was no major lacerations or injuries that would be pertinent to the case.
That one little abrasion, which could have been anything. His nose appearance was intact.
and then the coroners took the body. Coast Guard Station Miami Beach is the busiest small boat station in the Coast Guard. And it's not easy dealing with deceased bodies, and you can get emotionally involved with it. You just have to detach yourself and just make sure you put your training to use and get the mission done.
No problem, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Your help was
Glad to help you out.
very much appreciated.
It was an unfortunate thing to be called on, but hopefully the outcome helps whoever's related to that person bring closure to it, and if that's part of the job that we have to do. And I'm more than glad to accept those challenges.
I found those bubbles and they just quit.
We go out on missing diver cases, and 9 times out of 10 we don't find anything, and maybe a couple of days down the road we find a body.
Cadet Early, Cadet Duryea, fallout.
You guys got here, hit the ground running, and definitely did a great job for us. And I think the entire crew would agree with that. Good job, guys. Thank you very much. All right.
My name is Darian Duryea. I'm a 3rd class cadet at the United States Coast Guard Academy, and I'm here at Station Miami Beach.
Come on in. All right, good afternoon. Have a seat. Good to see you. All right, yeah, sit down. For the last 6 weeks, we've had 2 cadets here, Cadet Early and Cadet Duryea, and today I'm gonna meet with them and give them their evaluations. Okay, so I've got your evaluations here. I put in some good comments. As you progress through your career, as you want to make sure that you're taking on jobs of increased responsibility as you progress through the ranks, because we want to see people who have the ability to take on greater risk and lead.
This was our first taste of the real Coast Guard. This definitely exceeded my expectations by far. I've gotten to do some amazing things here. From a major 776-pound drug bust, to dead people, to flying and being hoisted with the rescue swimmers at Air Station Miami. This experience has been unmatched by nothing else I think any of my classmates had the opportunity to do. And I'm really thankful for being down here in Miami Beach, getting to see what the Ultimate Boat Forces station is really like.
It really is the true life stuff that's going on out here. And Station Miami Beach gave them an opportunity to experience that. Now they fully understand the true meaning of the organization that they're becoming a part of. And hopefully that motivates them for the next few years while they're in the academy to keep moving forward and keep doing the right thing.
We got a report of a missing diver. We're gonna go out there, check it out, and see if we can't find this guy.
I'm Petty Officer Coriel. The diver was approximately 1 nautical mile south of Spanish Harbor Bridge. He'd been missing for about an hour.
Staley, keep your eyes out to port.
My name's Kevin David Jackman. I'm a MK3 in the United States Coast Guard. With diving out here in the open waters, you have pretty strong currents. We go out on missing diver cases 9 times out of 10. We don't find anything, and maybe a couple of days down the road, we find a body.
I want the position he was anchored out, how long he's been down. We're gonna determine set and drift from that position.
We're approaching the boat. We see 1 adult male, 1 male child on board.
How you doing, sir? Do you know the last position that you were in? The last place you saw him?
I don't know exactly, but it was we're close.
Try not to get too attached to each person initially. You want to clear ahead for the case. Finding out that the diver was the father of the son that was on the boat, makes it a little bit more emotional for all of us.
I found those bubbles and they just quit. He was only like halfway through his tank, I know. But I don't know.
Being a diver myself, if someone tells me, I stopped seeing bubbles, That's not good at all. That automatically says to me that this guy's out of air, stuck on the bottom. With the currents being as strong as they are right now and the tides affecting the location of where this man could be, it makes their search that much more difficult. If it was slack tide on a flat, calm day, it'd be a lot easier, but with the conditions the way they are, it's gonna be a lot harder to find this guy. We were looking for any signs of a diver, bubbles, anything like that. He could still be down on the bottom. He has a weight belt on, so if he's on the bottom and out of air, then he doesn't have much of a chance of survival at this point.
What's going on? That is. Yeah. One guy been down for about an hour and a half. Fish and Wildlife arrived on scene and decided to split the search area with us.
So we can go over this way and this way in?
Sure, we can do that. They went west, we went northeast towards the bridge. A yellow ball? He said they were next to a yellow ball. The little boy stated that the last time he saw the diver that was in the water was near a yellow ball. We looked around in the area and noticed that there's a string of lobster pots that are marked by a yellow ball. And it was a yellow ball just like that? I want to go back to the original positioning. Get an eye on one of the balls that could be in that area. It's happened a couple of times that the best pieces of information we get are usually from children. They're pretty good observers and they're usually objective. What I would suggest doing is run those yellow balls. If anything, he's probably going to be somewhere around those. It gave us a pretty good idea of at least a general area where the diver might have been last.
We have a half hour, maybe 45 minutes before the sun goes down, and it's a whole different ballgame at that point. Report of a missing diver, and they said that he's been down for about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes, and he's diving on tank, so I'm guessing he's about out of air by now.
A yellow ball. What I would suggest doing is run those yellow balls. If anything, he's probably going to be somewhere around those.
One of the persons on board, the child, says that last place they were was around a yellow ball. We're thinking it's probably a crab pot, in which there's a whole line running from east to west. They usually throw, like 40 or more traps, so it could be anywhere from 2 miles around here, if that's what he's talking about.
Got him. Port bow.
Got him right off the bow, yep.
Tell me you got eyes on him.
I still got him, yeah.
All right, cool. I noticed off the port bow as I was hanging out of the door, a diver in the water.
I think that's him.
What's the distance?
Couple 100 yards.
Turns out the diver in the water was the one we were looking for.
Robert. Yep.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
All right.
No panic.
That's all right. They're already kept anyway. Go ahead and...
Sorry to get you guys all out of bed today.
Hey, that's all right. Don't you worry about it.
I appreciate you being here.
There's a ladder on the other side, or you can just drag yourself up.
I'm up. I'm good.
When we got up to the diver, he had a smile on his face. We pulled him on board. He was laughing the whole time. How you feeling?
Good.
Awesome.
They were 300 yards away from me. I'm doing this. Got the net up there and everything, and they buzzed off the other way. I'm like, what are you doing? So I started heading towards shore.
Awesome. Once we had him on board, we checked him, made sure that there were no medical concerns. He didn't seem very exhausted. He was pretty leisurely swimming towards shore.
I know my son's freaking out.
Even though he was acting pretty casual, I think he was pretty relieved that we had found him.
I knew if I started freaking out, it was just going to make things worse. How long is it going to take me to get to shore? Am I going to get there by dark?
We found this guy about 30 minutes before sunset. He probably would have not quite made it to land. He could have easily been run over by another boat. It could have definitely ended a lot worse than it did.
Yeah. Let's just see. I told him to come give you a big hug. Thank you, man.
That's awesome. We found our diver and helping someone, keeping them safe and returning them back to their kid. As we pulled up alongside this man's vessel, and you could see the smile on his son's face.
Don't worry, your daddy was all right. I was heading to shore, buddy.
The look he had just said, you know, there's my dad, and I didn't know if I was getting him back.
You all right? Were you worried? Were you worried? I'm all right. I'm all right. What do you think? You must have been freaked out.
Mom said for me to start praying to God, making sure that he was okay.
I was upset too, trust me. He says, call mommy. I don't want to.
Out of all the missing diver cases that I've been on, this is one that I'll definitely remember for a while. Finding him in good health and getting him back to his family and seeing that immediate gratification is the reason we do this. We don't always get a positive outcome, but I couldn't have asked for anything better on this one.
Thank you.
It's no problem, little man. Station 17, Roger, 17 is resuming normal patrol, over. He was actually a pretty intelligent diver. He's just diving and, you know, the boat lost track of him. He gets to go home to his son tonight. It's good news for everybody.
Edward, over here. Sit down there, we gotta read the card. Look at that. When I seen the Coast Guard coming, it was definitely a relief, you know, especially to get reunited with my son.
Hello, Edward. We understand you were a very brave... What?
Very brave boy when your dad was lost. You know, I lost my dad at a young age, and I think he really thought he was never gonna see me again. We also heard that the clues you gave the Coast Guard helped save your daddy's life.
I gave him a clue that we lost him at the Yellow Ball. We thank you, the United States Coast Guard. And then when he picked him up, he felt happy, he had happy tears.
Look at that. It's a helicopter. That's pretty neat, huh? I learned a valuable lesson. Shouldn't have been diving alone. Other than my son, I got 3 other kids. I got a new grandbaby. I got a lot to live for.
My girlfriends informed me there's a GPS watch with a transmitter on the boat, and we all decided for his birthday in September, we're all pitching in and getting that.
We're actually gonna be down there, not this weekend, but next weekend. Hopefully it's on better terms. Hey, the Coast Guard, my hat's off to them. When things happen, you need them. They're the only ones out there.
Thank you very much, Coast Guard, for finding my dad.
Thank you very much, the U.S. Coast Guard.